All right, are we up and running? Doing a mic check here. I think I'm live. Is that true? Looks like it. Mic check, mic check. I'm live. Is that true? All right, cool. Hey, we're up and running. Awesome. All right, let me go ahead and start posting some social media here real fast just to announce that I'm up and running. And we'll get to work here in a hot second. So just give me a second here, and we will kick it off. Here and here is burp and burp and burp and burp and burp and burp, 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 burp. Okay, cool. Hey, my name is Phil Kearney. I create role-playing games, I illustrate them, and I publish them online. And I have been focusing attention on the Spelljammer campaign setting, Spelljammer's Adventures in Space, since its released in 5th edition by Wizards of the Coast in August 2022. You can see her on screen right now is the book cover to the core mechanics that I've built for this Spelljammer Combat and Exploration. It is a deep dive into combat and exploration mechanics for 5th edition and Spelljammer, where ships are 50 or 500 feet in scale compared to individual creature heroes in the dungeon being at the 5-foot scale. So most of the book is built around upscaling mechanics, looking at how things can interact in space, how to conduct 5e combat with actions, reactions, bonus actions, movements, the way that you expect combat to work in a 5th edition dungeon, but at the 500-foot scale for vessels and fighter craft. So let me go ahead and get this rearranged here real fast. We're on episode 4 right now, and so we've been exploring building mecha. We have the cap things off, like, subscribe, bell icon. Thanks for new folks that are joining up with us. The full playlist for all of the Spelljammer stuff that we have built is in this playlist here. The actual book that we created, Spelljammer Combat and Exploration, is here. You can click on the full-size preview to view the full 107-page document. There's over 120 assets that are included in the zip file. If you were to download and purchase, if you think it's cool, please leave me 5 stars. It's greatly appreciated. So looking at the document that we built here, we can go up to here and look at the different type of fighter craft that we have built. So there's about 16 different ships that were made that are in the Spelljammer's Adventures in Space 2022 publication from Wizards of the Coast. Damselfly, Bombard, Strike Ship, Nautiloid, Night Spider, Squid Ship, Star Moths, Wasps, Lampreys, Tyrant Ships, all these things. Scorpions are really cool. They're 75 feet long. But then we also created a category for fighter craft, or just craft, which are things up to 50 feet in size. You can see here an Elven Warbird is a 10 by 10 space at the 5-foot scale. That's a 50-foot space. But like a Neogi Spiderling, it occupies an 8 by 8 space. It's 40 feet. A Manta Ray is also 40 feet. The Cuttlefish, the Illithid Cuttlefish, is only a 20 by 20 foot fighter craft, while just a generic skiff is also 20 by 20. And then Goblin Arrow is the smallest one that we have presented here, which is 15 by 15. So all the combat mechanics that we have for fighter craft movement, combat, as well as vessels, it's all here in the combat section for scaling movement during combat, how to shift scale from 500 to 50 to 5-foot scale and back during the course of combat, with examples of how you would utilize this in gameplay. Creating segmented maps so that you can isolate different scales while you're conducting battle at these different scales of map at the same time, and how that can be integrated into a combat scenario, of which we have many here. There's also a lot of assets for Light as Araxis. Actually, the entire back of the book is a 20-page conversion guide for the entire Light as Araxis adventure that integrates a bunch more combat, ship combat. This is a 500-foot scale asteroid dungeon map that instead of doors, there's collision points, that when your team flies a ship through these different collision points, there's these numbers represent the difficulty check that you have to make as a pilot to prevent colliding with just loose asteroids that are cluttering the field. So when you move out of, like, this is the Lucent Edict, the wrecked salvaged or the wrecked nautiloid that the team can run across. A represents spiderling fighter craft that ambush you while you are exploring the nautiloid. And way over here, B is the night spider that's stalking you. That is the mothership for the spiderling squadron that's hunting you. So as the team goes through the adventure, they will encounter various spiderling ships that they have to fight with as they're maneuvering their way through this maze, and they want to find exit points over here and here. You start over here at point 1, and the goal for the team is to find their way out over here or here. And once they escape that, it goes back to the normal adventure, going back to the Rock of Brawl, meeting up with the GIF and the living ship and all that stuff. But you have a chance of being attacked by a squadron of fightercraft spiderlings with its mothership Night Spider, which will overwhelm the space galleon that the team is on. But once the team gets to the edge of escaping, they have the option of connecting. Here's 3 spiderlings in a squadron represented as a single token. But once the team breaks free, they can turn around and join up with the Rock of Brawl patrol ships that show up. So you would have your ship plus the patrol ships are 3 galleons versus a single Night Spider and its 3 spiderling fightercraft. So it suddenly becomes a fair fight that the team can then turn around and chase them down, capture the ships, free the slaves, gain bounty and rewards for doing so to be able to afford renting or purchasing the second wind for the latter half of the adventure. So there's a lot of mechanics inside here for folks to mess around with and play with. If you think it's cool, check it out. But these are all fighter craft mechanics, right? But we can see here that a lot of these craft and ships in general in Spelljammer are shaped like animals. So when we were creating the combat system for this, we wanted to take 5e normal combat action economy into account. So actions that characters can perform are broken into the different the 6 different components that comprise a round of combat in 5th edition, which is verbal commands, object interactions, actual actions, attacks, which can be either actions or part of an attack action, bonus actions, and then reactions. And depending on what role you're playing at the time, depends on what you can do with each piece of action economy that's available to each character every round. And you can have multiple roles at the same time. So you can be a pilot using actions and bonus actions to maneuver the ship and to make, say, melee weapon attacks, while also holding the siege commander role or even squadron commander role to order crew or other ships to also make attacks, and you can make reactions as a pilot, siege commander, or squadron commander. And you could have multiple people piloting, so you have like Han Solo and Chewbacca co-piloting with each other, or you can have multiple characters commanding more than one siege weapon at the same time together to combine your action economy to get more weapon performance per round out of the siege crews that are attacking. And then support options are like bonuses and help actions and boosts to different things and to ward off attacks, reload weapons, help targeting to gain advantages on checks, stuff like that. So, but all these things are basically like creatures, like animal or beast or monstrosity shapes. The idea of like Gundam, Evangelion, Escaflowne, Pacific Rim, Shadow, or Spirit Warriors, these are all humanoid, like mecha, right? The mecha fantasy of being in a giant robot running around with a sword and stuff. Well, that's what we are in the process of creating, taking the general rules of fightercraft combat and putting them into a humanoid-shaped chassis instead of an animal-shaped chassis. So the default damage die that these weapons deal, like melee weapons deal when you're in one of these fightercraft, is D8s. But if we're going to implement large size, like massive size weapons, we can use the same weapon damage dice that are in the player's handbook and just scale up how many dice you use based on the size of the mecha that you're in, or War Titan as we're calling them for Warforged. So 5-foot scale, small and medium-sized creatures use 1d8 damage weapons. We know that large-sized creature adds 1 die, huge-sized creatures add 2 dice, gargantuan-sized creatures add 3 dice. So a gargantuan creature that's wielding a bastard sword two-handed would be doing 4d10 damage plus their strength bonus. So using that curve, once we get to 50 feet, we add a 5th, and then 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and it caps off at 500 feet, the largest size of vessel that you can pilot as a single character with one spelljamming helm. That would be 10 dice. The largest size weapon you're going to have is a d12, so that ultimately scales. It ultimately scales in curve with what spelljamming vessels can do with massive size weapons. But it just calculates them a little bit differently to take into account different types of weapons that your character could be wielding while piloting a War Titan. So last episode, if you check that out, episode 3, we were developing the power systems, and we had gotten through sustained effects, which are like auras or like concentration effects to empower the performance of your War Titan while it's active. We had integrated some strike powers, kind of like alternate paladin smite spells, to be able to have additional kicker effects, like blinding strike. When you hit a target with your attack as a bonus action, it is blind until the beginning of your next turn. And these things are all triggered as bonus actions, so it doesn't cost any mana or resources to be able to trigger any of these effects. It just eats up some of your character's action economy. So again, let's go back to looking at action economy. So if you're piloting a war machine as a pilot, you would have access to ship melee attacks, and then later on we're going to start strapping on ranged weapons like eldritch cannons and stuff like that for you to be able to have a mix of both melee and ranged attacks. One of the things that we detail in the book here is that you can have, in the void of space where there is no gravity, weighing things down and momentum is persistent, you can effectively fire at things more than a mile away. But because you can see it coming from a mile away, basically if you target something more than a mile away, it takes a round per mile to reach the target until after about a minute. That's when siege weapons start slowing down in momentum. So you could attack something effectively 10 miles away. It'll just take 10 rounds for it to get there. So melee, ship combat in general, thus has to stay within a 1 mile space because of the speed of attacks and the range and the type of weapons that are being used in a fantasy setting like this, kind of bending towards medieval siege weapons. It's kind of quaint. That's not all energy weapons. We have the Eldritch Cannon, which allows spellcasters to convert cantrips and spell slots into siege weapon damage, but that is also on a limited battery supply. So we'll visit that later on. But right now, what we're doing, we're creating these all these different strikes, powers, sustained effects, reactions, maneuvers. These are all being lifted out of the Martial Powers document that we have been streaming over the past year as well. This is an alternate spellcasting system for martial characters to allow the same type of variety of options and power gain that normal spellcasters have, using an alternate magic system based on instant, sustained reaction effects. So we can pluck a series of these from this document and translate them into things like if they're things that alter your action economy or targeting ability, they're really good candidates for us to import into the War Titan book, because the scale of damage that you're dealing with is continuing to ratchet up as the vehicles you pilot get larger. So having a scaling damage die is something that's difficult to lock in with this. So if instead of leaning on how much damage am I doing, you're going to lean on what does my action economy allow me to do, and what kind of conditions can I trigger upon a target, whether it's a creature or a fighter craft, vessel, or War Titan, and are we affecting the vehicle or are we affecting the pilot of the vehicle, and how does that action economy, or how does that interaction work? Well, that's all covered in the spell casting chapter of this book. So you click down here into spell casting, and it talks about amplifying spell effects and targeting creatures and objects within the space of the spell. Blah, blah, blah. Lots of examples down in here that we can lean on as we get into the Eldritch, and I've got some other fun ideas. So priority number 1 today is to get our exploits going. So we got 1, 2, 3, and go up to 4th. It goes up to 4th rank that characters have access to at 13th level. Doesn't scale nearly as hard as spellcasting does, but it's also much more concise, absolute effects. So you'll see what I'm talking about when we get into it here. So going down to exploits, my goal is to have 1 4th, 2 3rd, 3 2nd, and 4 1st rank exploits. So for us to be able to get past all these subclass revisions, we added powers to every subclass that there is for martial characters. Fun stuff. Artificers get cool toys too. So to Warlocks, down here into, there we go, exploits. Assassinating, I love that. Assassinating damage. When you deal damage with a weapon attack to a target that has yet to act in combat or is unaware of your attack, you deal maximum damage, including additional damage dice such as sneak attack or when channeling a strike power. So we can just lift that. But there's also unstoppable, which is when an effect or condition other than incapacitated, unconscious, or death reduces movement to 0. You can ignore the movement penalty until the end of your next turn, though you might not be able to take any other action. Now, let's just keep assassinating damage. To a target that has yet to act in combat or is unaware of your attack, you deal maximum damage, including any additional damage. There we go. Assassinating damage. Yeah, I'm perfectly happy with that. Exploits modifies other actions. Like, this doesn't actually take anything. Wait a second. When you deal damage with, normally, like in the power system here, this would cost 4 mana. You do this when the thing happens. There you go. But when you deal damage with a weapon attack to a target that is yet to act in combat, or is unaware of attack, you can use your bonus action to deal maximum damage, including any additional damage dice, such as sneak attack or channeling a strike power. You know what? I think I want to make that. I'm going to make that a 4th rank strike power instead. We have banishing strike, but I don't like that. I want to get rid of that and replace it. There. And now we do have reason for unstoppable. So let's go. When an effect or condition reduces your movement to 0, you can ignore the movement penalty. Conditions other than destroyed that reduce your movement to 0 are ignored. New condition. Destroyed. A destroyed vehicle. Cannot move or be piloted until it is repaired to half its total HP. For example, a 50-foot war titan that has been destroyed can be piloted again once it has been repaired. For example, a 50-foot war titan until pilot again when 50 or more hit points have been repaired. There you go. Easy peasy. So let's go find some more exploits. Okay, opportunistic. When you make an opportunity attack, you can make an extra attack against the same creature or forego the extra attack. Yeah, I like that. Opportunistic. Use a reaction. You can make an additional attack as part of the opportunity attack. You can make an additional attack against the provoking target as part of the opportunity attack. That's very specific language, and it sounds kind of wordy, but there are reactions in here that are considered opportunity attacks that don't make attacks. Like, for example, interpose. As a reaction to when an ally within reach of your melee attacks takes damage from a source you can see, you can take any portion of the damage and gain resistance to it. This power is considered an opportunity attack. So if I were to use, if one Titan were to attack an ally, I'd be able to treat that attack as an opportunity attack, which interpose would allow me to take any amount of damage as that. And if I have opportunistic active, when I use that opportunity attack, I can make an attack against the provoking target as part of that opportunity. So if War Titan A attacks ally, then I use interpose to shield the ally from taking any damage, and as part of the opportunistic reaction, I can also attack War Titan A in the process of taking damage from it, if that makes sense. Hopefully that makes sense, because that's how I roll. That's how it works. And if that doesn't work, well, then I'll have to hire an editor to make sure that it makes sense. So I only need two. I only need 2 powers at 3rd rank. I need 3 powers at 2nd. I need 4 at 1st rank. So Hypertunistic is super fun. First strike. When you roll initiative, if an enemy is within range of your weapon attack, make an attack roll against that enemy instead. The result of the roll is your initiative count in addition to dealing any damage if the attack succeeds. That can couple with assassinating damage, which is when you deal damage with a weapon attack to a target that has yet to act in combat, you deal maximum damage, and that would be as a bonus action. So if I win initiative, I have first strike active, then I can, when I roll initiative, that becomes my round and I make my attack. My attack roll becomes my initiative count. If it's higher than the target that I'm attacking, if it's higher than their initiative, then I can automatically trigger assassinating damage and deal maximum damage on top of it. So that's some fun shit. What does Empowered Synergy do? When you channel a maneuver, you can make a weapon attack. Yeah, we're going to skip that. So first strike is definitely where we want to be. That's super fun. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Zegama Beach. When you roll initiative, if an enemy is within range, if a target is within range of your weapon attack, of your melee weapon attack, make an attack roll against that. Make an attack roll against that target instead. The result of the roll is your initiative count in addition to dealing any damage if the attack succeeds. In addition to... No, that's right. In addition to dealing any damage if the attack succeeds. Yeah, I like that. That works. Second rank. Very good. Second rank. Oh, we got a lot of second rank shit. So we got some fun stuff to play with here. 1. And then 2. Not a ton of it. Let's see. Precise attack. You can make an attack roll with advantage. Let's see. When using the help action to grant advantage to the ability check or attack of an ally within 30 feet of you, roll 1 power die from a channel, adding the highest result to the ally's roll. I don't like that. Evade damage. When you succeed at a dexterity saving throw to reduce damage, you take none or half if you fail. I love that. Evade damage. Doesn't that already sync though with the defense? Let me check my rolls here. Let's see. When the ship is hit by an attack, you can make a pilot check with a DC equal to the attack roll. Succeeding this check turns a hit into a miss. And here we have evade damage. When you succeed at dexterity saving throw... Yeah. No. Yeah. That's very relevant. It's actually very relevant. Cool. Evade damage. When you succeed a dexterity saving throw to reduce damage, you take none or half if you fail. That's basically evasion. Ship evasion. There you go. Phase attack. When you make an attack roll against a target with less than full cover, you can ignore the cover and roll with advantage. Nice. Very, very nice. I only need one more here. Let's see. Precise attack. You can make an attack roll with advantage. When using the help action to grant advantage to the ability check or attack of an ally within 30 feet, roll 1 power die per mana channel, adding the highest result to the ally's die roll. No, I don't think I want to do that. Or ability check or an attack. Let's see, is there something else we could do? I want a third. Where's my maneuvers? What am I looking at down here? Bonus attack, coordinated dash, goad, distract, ward. You gain resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, blah. Vanish, become invisible until the beginning of your next turn. Double strike, phase. These are all maneuvers. What about my sustained powers? Resistance, power, shield, rogue stance. You can use a bonus action to dash, dodge, or dash, disengage, or dodge. Disengage is already granted. Dash, dodge. Yeah, I like that. I'm okay with that. Dash, dodge, disengage. Dash, disengage, or dodge. That's cool. Even though disengage is something you pilots can already do normally, it's useful to have it added in. So, let's see. Yeah, I like that. Swift tools. When what would it be? Let's see. If the use of a tool would normally require an action, you can do so as an object interaction instead. Period. That's actually really good. There we go. And we got a ton of first rank exploits, so we'll find something. Charge. I love that. When you take the move action, you can channel this power to prevent triggering opportunity attacks due to your movement. The first attack you make during or after this movement can roll with advantage. That's so freaking great. Charge. When you move your vehicle as an action or object interaction, there you go. When you are adjacent to a, during your turn, you can burn mana to switch places with that creature, providing you spend at least 5 feet of movement. The creature is willing and is incapacitated. The movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. Yeah, there we go. Bait and switch. When you're adjacent to equal or smaller size. During your turn, you can switch places with that ally. You spend 1 square of movement. The ally is willing. This movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. There you go. Until the start of your next turn, you or the target, you or the ally, gain a bonus to AC equal to your proficiency bonus. Let's go with let's see. Keen awareness. When you make a scan check, that can when you make an ability check, that can use the perception, investigation or investigation skills, or investigation skill, or while using an orrery to make a scan check, you gain expertise. How this? Keen awareness. You gain expertise. You benefit from expertise when you make. There we go. You benefit from expertise when you make an ability check that can use the perception or investigation skills, or while using an orrery to make a scan check. There you go. And all we need is one more. So let's see. What's a good one? Let's see. Resilient. When you make a saving throw before you know the result, subtle channeling, swift tools, tactical assessment, unnerved focus, tactical assessment. When you're making an ability check that uses history and insight investigation skills, add blah. Wind Strider, channeling this exploit as part of move action, you gain flight, no. Veterinary training, irrelevant. Swift tools, got it. Subtle channeling, meh. Resilient. Almost there. Stay on target. How are we doing? Yeah, we got 20 minutes left. 20 minutes left. Okay. What else you got? I know there's something else in here. There we go. Grappler. G-H-I-J-K. When you make an ability check to grapple or break free from a grapple, you you can use your pilot. Oh, there he is. There it is. When you make a pilot check to grapple or break free from a grapple, you gain expertise. You can roll with advantage. You gain expertise and roll with advantage. There you go. Nice. Not bad. Good set. Okay, there's my bits. 1, 2. So that I'm gonna have to drop this into a Word document or into a Google Doc, so folks can take a look at this. If you just want to, I'll put it up. I'll put a link to it up on my Patreon. It'll be free for people to look at, but it will be a read-only document. But this will eventually evolve into a supplement that I'll bundle with this full book, so that you can get discounts on everything. This will probably end up being like a $4, maybe $5 book. And we'll probably drop the cost down to like $1. And this is a $20 book, and we'll drop the cost to $15. So if you get both this and the Warforged book, then it'll be a total of like $25 that you'll get for $16. Not bad, not bad. So I'm going to just spend the few minutes that we have left to play with one of the ideas that I have. Let's take these frames and conceal them real quick here. So one of the ideas that I'm playing with is I want to look up 5e Beholder. Well, there it is. And they're getting better. They're only the fourth ranked. Beholder. Beholder. Monster, what are they, large? I think they're large. Yep, they're large. Okay, so to pilot a craft, the craft has to be twice the size of the pilot. To pilot a vehicle, the pilot a vehicle must be at least twice the size of the pilot. There you go. So if we take a beholder, this will be fun. These are 5-foot squares, right? A beholder occupies a 10-foot space. So if this is your beholder occupying a 10-foot space. For that pilot, it then has to have a 20-foot by 20-foot space. But this eye is a problem because it is anti-magic. So here's the idea. Here's the thought. If you have a beholder, a window is full cover, but is transparent so you can see through it. So you can have a window on a ship, and if you put that window right against the eye of the beholder, it will block the anti-magic effect of anything. So you can effectively build a fighter craft that has the beholder's eye here inside of the vessel, and then you can have access points for its ice stalks around the frame of the vessel, so it can use the magic of the ship and not anti-magic itself because of its eye. Maybe we do like a Star Wars sort of looking thing. Because that seems kind of cool. It's kind of neat. So let's just build a 20-foot by 20-foot fighter craft. I don't know what I'm doing. I should just make a big circle. So here's its hinges. This is how it hinges open. Burp. And then the beholder goes in and it closes up behind it. I mean, these things can be literally anything up to 500 feet in size. I'm just going for a smaller fighter craft, sort of fast combat sort of thing that beholders can buzz around inside of and terrorize people. Maybe I push this back to here. That could be fun. So these blades are they're metal. So these are sharpened slashing blades. The 1, 2, 3, 4. So these do 4d8 damage. Build those out. Like that. That'll work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Duplicate, free transform, flip horizontal. There you go, basic beholder. And transform, flip horizontal now. Line that up. Bippity boppity bacon. So 3 Eldritch Cannons. The way that Eldritch Cannons work is based on the CR of the creature, is the amount of passive damage that it automatically deals. Let's go find... Reopen. Beholder is a CR 13. So that puts it at 4th rank. So whenever it fires one of these Eldritch Cannons, it can have one Ice Stalk control each eye cannon. So this would allow for 3 eye cannon shots per round, which would be 48 damage per pop. Then it would also be able to ramp up and amplify a spell effect, treat it as a spell amplifier. And if we then drop down into spell casting here with amplified spells, when a monster amplifies an ability check the 50-foot scale, the target it has a reload die, and the refresh die is going to be a D6. And you, for example, a Beholder is 4th rank monster. When it uses an Eldritch Cannon detailed in the weapons and crews section above, to amplify a slow ray to the 500-foot scale at the beginning of its next turn, it must roll a D6 plus 4. It's the plus 4 because of its rank. And if the result is 6 or more, the Beholder can use the slow ray again. Otherwise, it can attempt to recharge again next turn. So it can use slow rays infinitely. And so when it uses a spell amplifier as part of its attack rhythm, it can do 48, 48, 48, or if it, like, say, has a slow eye on the top-mounted Eldritch Cannon, then it would be able to use a slow ray at the 50-foot scale. Up to 50 feet away, it'd be a D6 plus 4 equals 5 or above, so it can automatically reuse the slow ray every round. If it's at up to 500 feet away, it would be a reload score of 6, so it'd roll a D6 plus 4. So only on a 1 or a 2, anything above a 2 or above will automatically refresh. So it's almost guaranteed to be able to fire these things repeatedly, but it can only use up to 3 Ice Stalks per round in combat, because each Ice Stalk is equipping an Eldritch Cannon. So I'd have to determine which 3 Ice Stalks do I want to use per turn, and is that Ice Stalk going to do, is it going to deal the 48 force damage, a type of damage that is force damage. You could use, like, for a disintegration ray, you could use like necrotic damage, but then it would have the slow ray or the wounding ray or whatever, telekinesis ray. It would have to have the eye cannon equipped to each of those to use it. But with the disabling effect of the eye bubble around the anti-magic eye, that would allow the rest of the machine to function normally. So this would be a Beholder. This would be the profile of a Beholder fighter craft. It's a 20 by 20 vessel. a 20 by 20 ship. It's the same size as the ellipted cuttlefish, but it doesn't. It has 2 slashing weapons here, and I don't know. Maybe it needs Does it need grappling claws? Probably not. I think this is because it has its telekinesis, so it could use it could use the spell cannon to amplify its telekinesis ability to be able to manipulate objects around it as needed. But yeah, that's a fun little beholder fighter craft. So we're gonna build a crap load of these little things, just different type of mecha fighter craft and ships to buzz around inside of for just additional combat options in the Spelljammer Combat Exploration book. So we'll publish this thing. We'll have to make a book cover for it, and we'll have to flesh out all the little bibs and bobs to make sure that it's properly functioning. So far, so good, though. Hey, I'm going to be back tonight to work on, if you haven't seen it, here, I'll show you. We've been building Vokath's base into a 500-foot battle crab. Each of these squares is 50 feet in size. So this is a 500-foot battle crab, and this is going to be what we're working on tonight. So we're going to be back tonight in about probably in about 6 hours from now. We'll be back on, and we'll work on Vokath's ship. We still have a couple of different levels to complete inside of the structure before we do some cleanup and interior design with amenities and fixtures and stuff and furnishing. And then we'll be getting very close to being ready for us to play test Vokath's battle station with the Doomspace allies in a fleet against the 12 Star Moths that Prince Zealot shows up with to take on the team and try to fetch his sister. Spoiler alert, sorry too late. But yeah, that's what we're working on. If you think this stuff is cool, like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Hope to catch you guys in the future. Thanks a lot.